Sizzle and Stack is a restaurant management simulator that tasks you to juggle multiple different ingredients and recipes and serving lots and lots of customers and trying to keep up with the demands of rent and customer satisfaction. However, you won't do that by running around a restaurant necessarily, you'll do it by playing cards on a table. And in a very similar way to Cultist Simulator and Stacklands, Sizzle and Stack takes the card-based management simulator of trying to stack things on top of each other to create patterns and recipes and menu items, but you'll be doing it using your cards and trying to keep up with the madness that ensues. At the start of the game, you'll have just a knife and a pan, and you will have a couple of ingredients that you can buy from random card packs from your pantry. These cost 5 coins and will have 5 different ingredients inside them, and that will be something like cheese, milk, flour and eggs. And your first customers might just want a fried egg or an omelette or a cheese omelette, and you'll be able to craft these recipes either by trying a mix and match yourself or buying and getting recipe cards that can then be added to your portfolio and menu. This then means that when customers start to have more needs, their menu and palette will expand and they'll ask for new things, but you'll then start to unlock additional equipment or recipe cards or ingredients that you'll then have to juggle on your table. Your table can only take a certain amount of cards at one time though, and this is where the general upgrade and balancing of Sizzle and Stack comes into play. At the beginning of the game, you'll have room for probably about 15 cards, maybe 10 within the very first day. But every time you deal with completing a menu order for a satisfied customer, you will then gain a satisfaction point, and you'll be able to accrue those up over the course of the day and then take them through to upgrades. This can then increase the amount of cards that you've got in your table, or it could be that you unlock some new equipment instead, and so you'll have a deep fryer, or an oven, or a barbecue, or a sushi mat. There's loads that will unlock over time, but you need to be able to not only accrue the satisfaction points to buy them, but also maintain a level of satisfaction with your customers with your star rating as a restaurant over time too. And so you need to make sure that you do good, but also keep up with the demands of the game and make the right upgrades as you go along. What's really crucial about Sizzle and Stack is that early game, you'll just be trying to get used to what are the different ingredients that I've got and what do I pair together to make something. So it could be that you need to put the meat of a steak through the knife once to dice it, twice to mince it, and then take the minced meat to the pan to then make a burger, combine it with a bun and some cheese, and then that makes a cheeseburger that can go back. But similarly, someone could just order that steak and then you just chuck the steak as is into the pan. Or it could be that you put the steak with some chips and you can cook the steak in the pan, but you'll need to chop up the potato and then put the potato into the deep fryer to then make the chips. That will then be combined together and then become the one order. Some customers might have several things and they might fancy a fried egg on the side, or maybe a pancake, for example, where you'll need to mix sugar, milk and flour together in a pan to make the pancake. Then orders become more complicated as you start to move through different types of restaurant themed areas. And so you'll start off with the food court by adding on burgers and fries, and you'll be able to have like onion rings or a cheeseburger versus a basic burger or a deluxe burger. And then you'll start to move into Italian food, and this is where you'll need a pot and a pasta maker and a rolling pin. And it's at this point that Sizzle and Stack starts to become a real production line, because you'll need to be making dough with some of your basic pantry ingredients. Then you'll need to put that dough through either a rolling pin to become a pizza dough or through a pasta maker to then make pasta. And then there'll be dishes based off of that. So some pasta dishes might need you to make some spaghetti and then combine it with some tomato sauce that you'll need to chop up some tomatoes and then put in the pot to make the tomato sauce. And then combine them together with meat to maybe make spaghetti, or something else to become carbonara, or something else to become spaghetti and meatballs, for example. Or it could be that you then need to combine it with cheese, tomato sauce, mushrooms for a mushroom pizza, or a margarita pizza, or a veggie pizza, and there'll be loads of different options for you to choose from. Then once you've got that under your belt, you'll then have Mexican, and then you'll have Turkish, and then you'll have Asian, and it just keeps on going. And so you need to make sure that you keep satisfying the customers, putting together the right production line, but also making sure that you keep all of your ingredients in check, because every day means that they go stale. And so you'll either need to sell off or use the ones that are about to go to their sell by date first, or put them into your garbage to get rid of them if you've made them go bad over time. There are additional objects that you can buy, such as cupboards and fridges, that will then keep things fresh but also not count to your table card count, and you'll be constantly upgrading your table to have more room for more cards. But that invariably means that you then start getting more customers and having to try and balance out keeping them happy and not serving them the wrong order, but also keeping up with the demand of hitting A, paying the rent, but B, keeping the customers satisfied. It is tricky. It requires dexterity. And one of the key things here is that you can use the pause in this game very strategically, and the developer fully recommends you doing it, because once you've then decided how you want to arrange your kitchen table, you can then pause it, line up everything, and get each next section of, are you making the chicken burger, or are you making the chicken Alfredo, or the burrito, or the whatever it is that you've got coming on, the kebabs or whatever. You then get to decide how you stack it all up together, and then you can unpause, and it really saves you time, because the day keeps going the more you kind of blank out and have to think about it. And so you can be really proactive with your use of pause to try and keep up with the game. You can then turn on hardcore mode, which doesn't allow you to pause, but I do not recommend it unless you are an absolute pro at this game, of which I am not. Runs do help you over time, because whatever recipes you've learnt in one run carry through to the next. And so if you don't hit the right amount of satisfied customers by the end of a day, or you can't pay your rent, you'll end up with a game over. And that then means that you'll then restart your run and try to go for an even higher score and a longer day streak of survival. But because you'll have learnt all of your previous recipes, it then means that you aren't going to have customers appearing where you're not quite sure exactly how to cook what they're asking for. It'll become clearer, and that means that you can go quicker and quicker over time. I found this gameplay loop really addictive but very difficult, and so don't go in kind of thinking, this will be a breeze. You really have to think about your production line and making sure that you've got multiple things on the go at once, because if you have a gap in your production line, by the time you get to day 15, you're going to be exposed, and it will really start to cause you problems if you don't have lots of your key ingredients that you'll need to have constantly on repeat being developed, able to be developed. And so that might mean having multiple pans, multiple knives, multiple pots, maybe a couple of deep fryers on the side. And those will then take up spaces that you then have available for cards for ingredients. But it's worth thinking about how you can have multiple things going at once, and really kind of cutting into your profit margin so that you then can satisfy and serve as many customers as possible and make your money back that way. Sizzle and Stack will be going out in early access when it releases in August, and some of the full release roadmap includes having your tools to be upgradable, and I think that would be a great thing, adding in some roguelike elements for repeatable runs, being able to do full mod support, which I think will be interesting, maybe put in your own type of local cuisine, I think that would be quite fun, and adding in employees as well to look after certain parts of the kitchen, and I think that will help you lean this game towards more automation production line rather than having to do a dexterous juggle of everything. My only complaint about Sizzle and Stack, and there's two of them, one is as your table gets bigger, trying to maneuver the camera to then get it in the right place is a bit finicky because it's very sensitive, and so it kind of drags you off the screen, and I was like, oh, hang on, and it took me ages to kind of work out how to get back. And secondly, There's a real RNG around when you're playing, particularly on pantry cards. You might need some flour or some milk, and it will damn well never give you it for the first 3 or 4 goes, and so you're just selling everything back again to try and get what you want through. And there are some upgrades in the game that allow you to start specifying what each card deck starts to give you, but that design decision just doesn't sit well with me. It feels like we're leaning into the fact that the RNG is inherently a bit hit and miss, and so there's a paid upgrade to try and help specify it. And I'm not sure I'm quite on board with that very specific gameplay element. But the rest of Sizzle and Stack is absolutely enthralling. I've lost several hours playing this game in its early access form, really enjoyed it. I think if you're a fan of Cultist Simulator, and particularly Stacklands, then I think you will be very much at home here. Just make sure that you are using that pause button, because it is very much your friend, and it will help you feel more comfortable with this game and be able to go much further and see the full breadth of everything that can be served up in your kitchen. Sizzle and Stack will be launching into early access on the 4th of August, and you can add it to your wish list through the link in the description. I had great fun playing this and will be returning back to it throughout its early access to full version 1.0 because, basically, I'm a glutton for punishment. And this was incredibly engrossing and a real challenge to master.